check and see if we're on there.
Yeah.
Then Tuesday, 73-51. A chance of an afternoon rain on Tuesday. So it looks like a great week ahead with nice, balmy, spring-like weather.
Well, we've made it through the year so far, and it's already almost April. We'll be waiting for those April showers. Here's the applause. Catherine Moss of Sanford was named to the Fall 2017 Dean's List at Azusa Pacific University in California. Today in history. Today is Wednesday, March 28th, the 87th day of 2018, and there are 270 days left in the year. Today's highlight: on March 28, 1898, the U.S. Supreme Court in the United States versus Wong Kim, Arkansas, ruled. There's a Wong Kim, Arkansas? Well, Wong Kim Ark, maybe that's it, ruled 6-2 that Wong, who was born in the United States to Chinese immigrants, was an American citizen. Oh, that was a very important decision. 1898, apparently, there were no laws about who could be citizens, and you had to be born here, but Wong Kim Ark was born here, and it had to go all the way to the Supreme Court to declare that, yes, he was indeed a citizen. In 1797, Nathaniel Briggs of New Hampshire received a patent for a washing machine. That was probably grandmother. In 1880, okay, the next one is 1834. The U.S. Senate voted to censure President Andrew Jackson for the removal of federal deposits from the Bank of the United States. Well, what indeed did he do with that money? In 1941, novelist and critic Virginia Woolf, 59, drowned herself near her home in Lewes, East Sussex, in England. Therefore, she's very, very famous. In 1942, during World War II, British naval forces staged a successful raid on the Nazi-occupied French port of Saint-Nazaire in Operation Chariot, destroying the only dry dock on the Atlantic coast capable of repairing the German battleships Tirpitz. And here are the birthdays for today, mostly people you've never heard of. Mario Vargas Llosa is 82. He's an author, and many of us would have heard of him. But country musician Charlie McCoy, 77. Mike Newell, 76. Conchata Farrell, 75. Diane Wiest, 72. Reba McEntire, 63. Alexandra Billings, 56. Rapper Salt, 52. Actress Tracy Needham, 51. Max Perlich, 50. Movie director Brett Ratner, 49. Rodney Atkins, 49. Vince Vaughn, 48. Vince Vaughn, 48. Rapper Mr. Cheeks, 47. Ken L., 45. Singer-songwriter Matt Nathanielson, 45. Rock musician David Kuning, 42. Annie Werschling, 41. Julia Stiles, 37. Lady Gaga, 37. Electronic musician Clayton Knight is 30.
Swamps in Robeson County to be tested for Gen X. Hearing a lot about this Gen X.
Yes, but they've known about it for so many years, but apparently the people who lead our state don't care if we're poisoned.
Robeson County officials are testing swamps and ponds for a potentially carcinogenic compound that is made at a facility in nearby Bladen County. The Robeson County Health Department finished sampling the sites in the St. Paul's area Monday, according to Bill Smith, the county's health director. Samples were taken from 7 private wells, 10 ponds, and 3 swamp areas about 5 miles from the Chemours plant. The swamps were tested to see if they could lead to a bigger issue for the Lumber River Basin. Gen X was first detected in the Cape Fear River, which is close to the Comores facility. The boundary between the basins of the two rivers is near the plant. Smith said samples were taken from the Robeson County ponds because they are used for fishing, watering livestock, and irrigating crops. As you know, questions have arisen about fish and other animals and vegetables retaining Gen X and what is the impact on our food chain. 2 samples from public water sources, one each from the Robeson County and Lumberton water systems, also were submitted. The results are expected back in about 5 weeks. The samples will be tested for Gen X, which is used to make non-stick cookware and other products. Tests also will be done for PFOA and PFOS, which are similar compounds. Gen X has been linked to several forms of cancer in animal studies, but it isn't known if the effect is the same in humans. The Environmental Protection Agency says exposure to PFOA and PFOS over certain levels may result in adverse health effects, including cancer. PFOA, which is short for perfluoroconoic acid, also known as C8 because it has 8 carbon atoms. Robeson County officials have already tested 27 private wells in the county for 3 compounds. Gen X was found in 25 wells, but none had levels close to the state's provisional health goal. All but one of the wells had PFOA, PFOS, or both, but all were well below the EPA's health advisory level for a combination of the 2 compounds. Gen X has also been found in hundreds of private wells closer to the Comores plant in Bladen and Cumberland County. State officials say testing will continue until the edge of the contamination is found.
I'll tell you, that's such a scandal. I hope that they publicize it nationwide, because they've known for about 12 years that was going on. It's just incredible to me, and nobody will get sacked. Here's something about PWC drinking water that's very important for you to listen to. PWC drinking water is without Gen X. I hope most of you listeners are using PWC drinking water or purchasing the water in those horrible plastic bottles that is certainly damaging the ecosystem. Now that we know Gen X is airborne and that Public Works Commission's source of water is also the Cape Fear River, how much Gen X is in WC drinking water? Additionally, have any of the citizens whose wells tested positive for Gen X been physically tested through blood samples for the levels of Gen X? Answer: Gen X has only been detected in the Cape Fear River downstream from the Comores plant in Bladen County. Tests near the part of the river where the Public Works Commission gets water has found no trace of the compound, according to state officials. Livewire is not aware of anyone who has been tested for Gen X. Unbelievable. Studies have found a similar compound, perfluorooctanoic acid, is present worldwide at a very low level in just about everyone's blood, according to the American Cancer Society, PFOA, which also is known as C8 because it has 8 carbon atoms, was made at the Comores plant before the company switched to making Gen X for use in non-stick cookingware and other products. C8 was phased out because of health concerns. Last year, Comores and its predecessor, DuPont, settled a lawsuit over the compound filed by residents who lived near a plant in West Virginia for more than $670 million. It is beyond my understanding why that Comores plant isn't closed and make them pay for free drinking water. Of course, you wouldn't want this water. It's so bad you would not want it on your skin. The skin is the largest organ of the body, and it does matter what you put on your skin. Will Major League Baseball be increasing the number of African Americans who are umpires this year? From JH. One new full-time Major League Baseball umpire has been hired for the upcoming regular season. Stu Sure-Water, 34, has been named to the full-time umpiring staff, filling the roster spot created by the retirement of longtime ump Dale Scott, according to Major League Baseball news release. Sure-Water is white and a native of Canada. The season opens Thursday with all 30 teams in action. I think maybe my question would be, how many African Americans are there in the league? That would be probably sort of what this Mr. J.H. or Miss J.H. probably what she was asking. A Livewire seeks to answer questions of general interest in consumer topics. Initials are used to identify questioners when names are given. Contact Livewire at 486-3516 or livewire at FayeObseverMar.com.
City to donate extra funds raised for council swearing in. Mayor Mitch Colden's efforts to solicit private donations to pay for a Fayetteville City Council swearing-in reception at a cost of $3,954.66 on December the 4th stands at $5,250 and more than covers the cost of the heavy hors d'oeuvres fare. Although there has not been a donation since February 13th, the mayor says he will donate any funds over the cost to the Bill Shaw Salvation Army Fund. Representative Billy Richardson and his wife, Barbara, gave the most at $1,500, followed by lawyer Jonathan Charleston at $1,000. Other donations of $500 came from Mayor Pro Tem Ted Moon, John Malzone, who was master of ceremonies for the swearing in, and his wife Shirley Malzone, George Brees, Dennis Walters, and the mayor himself, Hoop-de-doo. Former Mayor Tony Schiavone gave $200 and Councilman DJ Hare $50. Total cost for the swearing-in reception and incidental expenditures, which included $3,576 to rent J.W. Seabrook Auditorium on the Fayetteville State University campus, was $7,650.66. If you're wondering why, the Cumberland County Board of Education is holding closed session meetings this week at the Embassy Suites. We are conducting the final interviews for the superintendent, says Carrie Sutton, school board chairwoman. If you are wondering why the board is meeting at the hotel and not the school system boardroom on US 301, it is to protect confidentiality of the candidates, says Pete Betsy Horn, administrative assistant Tim Kinlaw, the interim superintendent. And if you are wondering about the cost, just $150 a day for the Tuesday and Wednesday meetings, according to Allison Schaefer, legal counsel and director of policy. We want to fill this very important position as soon as possible. We will take as long as we need to get the right person in place for Methodist's future. Mac Healy, chairman of the Methodist University Board of Trustees, says in a news release about finding a successor to Ben Hancock, who retires on May 31st after 8 years. And if you know Healy, you can be assured he'll see that the university finds the right man or woman. Meanwhile, Delmas Crisp Jr., the school's provost, would take over on June the 1st as interim president, while Healy and the trustees look for a full-time president. Now we have a community building, and we can have events for people of all ages without them having to go to Eastover or Fayetteville. Godwin Mayor Willie Burnett says about the community's recreation room addition to its town hall. Dedication of the 2,104 square foot addition at a cost of $284,000 was held March 24th across from the town park. This is so good for the community. It was my grandmother's recipe, owner Alan Riley says about the shepherd's pie at Dugan's Pub in Pinehurst, and it's the best. Over to you, Marty.
Okay, there. Here's Need to Know. Let's see. We'll call you up later to check and find out if you really needed to know this. The blood drives. The Cape Fear Valley Blood Donor Center is experiencing a low blood supply and has several blood drives scheduled this week. Donors also may go by the center at 3357 Village Drive, Suite 150, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It also is open the third Saturday of the month from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. All blood types are needed, however. The center has a critical need for type O donors. For more information, call 615-5433. I've always had a question: at what age would they no longer want your blood? I have no idea if it's an age thing about giving blood, but I'd like to know. You can call 615-5433. The following blood drives are scheduled this week. Today, Fayetteville Technical Community College, Tony Rand Student Center, 9 a.m. to 3:30. Thursday, Cape Fear Valley Medical Center, Owen Drive. Friday, Cape Fear Valley Medical Center, Owen Drive, front entrance. Number 2, Bright Ideas Grants. Teachers may apply for grants from South River Electric Membership Corporation, which expects to award $50,000 for classroom projects and materials through the Bright Ideas Grant Program. Teachers from K-12 public schools can apply for as much as $2,500. The application deadline is September 19. Find out more at ncbrightideas.com. Pinwheels. To recognize Child Abuse Prevention Month, more than 12,000 blue pinwheels will be on display through April at locations around the county. Pinwheel garden kits are available for purchase on the Child Advocacy Center's website. The Child Advocacy Center will host a pinwheel garden planting at noon Thursday to honor the 696 children served by the center in fiscal 2017. This ceremony, which is open to the public, will be at the center at 222 Rowan Street. We want to hear from you. Submit your events in writing 10 days in advance. You may call 486-3545 or 486-3500 and say you want to speak to someone who's in charge of Need to Know.
Hope Mills moves ahead on park improvements. At a special meeting Tuesday night, the Board of Commissioners voted 3-1 to move ahead with engineering plans for a bulkhead, kayak launch, swimming area, accessible to disabled people, landscaping, and irrigation at the Hope Mills Lake Park. Mayor Pro Tem Mike Mitchell voted no. He said he wanted to wait for a comprehensive parks and recreation plan to be completed because it may increase the town's chances of getting grants for the improvements. Commissioner Pat Edwards was not at the meeting. The action followed another specially called meeting in which commissioners discussed rules of procedure and decorum. During that meeting, Mayor Jackie Warner said she apologized if any of her comments at a meeting last week offended any of the commissioners. At its last meeting, the board tabled action on the Lake Park plan. The lake was refilled in January after a new dam was built. Commissioners could not agree on whether the lake park should include a boardwalk. At Tuesday's special meeting, Commissioner Jesse Bellflower said he felt it was important to move ahead with the park on the lake plan that the board could agree on. Town officials say a plan needs to be in place in order to secure grants for the project. Can we at least agree on these minimum requirements? Bellflower said. Commissioner said a bulkhead is needed to prevent erosion of the lake bank. If we don't move forward, we're going to be sitting idle while the bank erodes, said Commissioner Jerry Legg. The town has contracted with the McAdams firm of Durham to do a town-wide parks and recreation plan, which may not be completed until September. Mitchell said he wanted to wait for the plan to be completed, saying it could save the taxpayers money. Commissioners asked town manager Melissa Adams to invite a representative from Fleming and Associates, which is working on the lake plan, to address the board at a future meeting. Commissioner said Tuesday's action does not rule out the possibility that a boardwalk will become part of the lake park plan. It opens the door for further discussion and improvements and enhancements on the lake park while pursuing grant opportunities. In the earlier session meeting, Commissioner Meg Larson criticized Warner for what she felt were unduly harsh remarks at the board's last meeting. Larson also asked town attorney Dan Herzog Jr. to clarify rules of procedure regarding commissioners' dealings with town staff and private meetings with the public. At the earlier meeting, Warner spoke out strongly in favor of moving ahead with the lake plan and criticized inaction. We are referred to as old fogies or fuddy-duddies, Larson said. Warner said she had met with a lakeside property owner to tour his property, but didn't feel that was inappropriate. She said she was passionate about town matters, including the lake. I apologize if you felt you had to listen to my opinion unduly, and apologize if I stepped on anyone's toes because I called you an old fuddy-duddy. I do not know what the procedures are, and I do know the rules. Herzog said town rules do not prohibit the mayor, who does not vote except in cases of a tie, from calling people on the board fuddy-duddies. He said, in fact, all of you are a bunch of fuddy-duddies. Get on with it.
Absolutely. That would be, I'm going to follow that with interest to see if they will do something around their lake for beautification, whatever it's going to be. The boardwalk sounds quite nice, and all the people in Fayetteville who would like to see something done on our river can just keep waiting, and don't hold your breath though, because we've got to spend a few more million on the ballpark, and nobody really cares about the river. Not very pretty here, but that would be changed and could be changed, and nobody cares enough about it. Here's a opinion piece from the Observer, certainly topical. No more delays. Build a county water system. Well, I believe we're only in the 21st century. Now, it might not seem to be the 21st century around here. So many hundreds and maybe thousands of people drinking poisoned water, and other things that are considered unimportant, breathing poisoned air from various sources. Not important around here. Water, water everywhere. No, it's not actually, and that's Cumberland County's problem. It's a recurring issue. When it comes to public water supply, large parts of this county come up dry. This time it's about Gray's Creek, where some homeowners' wells have been contaminated with Gen X or other chemicals that have leaked, spilled, or been vented out of the DuPont plant, now Chemours plant, on the Cumberland-Bladen County line. It may be dangerous to drink the water, and residents have been using bottled water for drinking and cooking instead. That's an irksome and short-term solution. What the residents need is municipal water lines bringing them safe, clean water. The county commissions have set that as their top priority for the year, as they should. But now they're also looking at the bigger picture. Is this the time to bring municipal water to all of Grays Creek? Or maybe even to all of the county where water lines don't presently exist? We believe it is. Cumberland County has ignored the big picture for too many years. Well, that's normal. Just ignore the horrible problem. And they put off doing what every other county around us did long ago, extend water lines throughout rural areas to make safe water available for present and future residents and to improve fire protection as well. As every year goes by, the water project becomes more daunting. Inflation is an irresistible economic force, and the cost of construction gets more expensive. At the same time, government grants that covered large portions of the cost of installing big municipal water systems have largely dried up, although there may be some grant assistance available to address emergency situations, like the one near the Comores plant. One way or another, the county will eventually end up with a large public water system serving most of its residents. The only question is how it will get there. Will it be piecemeal as it has been so far, with the installation of water mains that respond to the latest discovered groundwater pollution or major development outside of Fayetteville Public Works Commission's existing water system? That would likely be the most expensive way possible to build a county-wide system. Or will the county take another look at the big picture and decide to get it all done once and for all before the costs double or triple again? 26 years ago, Cumberland County voters narrowly turned down a referendum authorizing $63.2 million in projects that would have brought water and sewer service to most of the county. The proposal failed by just a few hundred votes. The latest financing model for extending just water lines to Grays Creek foresees a cost of about $48 million. It appears the county commissioners want to get a countywide system done. The need for such a system has already been there. Jeanette Council, the Board of Commissioners Vice Chairwoman, said last week it never went away as a need, even when their water wasn't Gen X. If not Gen X, it will be something else. There are countless old underground storage tanks and shut down industrial sites across the county that may already be leaking dangerous chemicals into the groundwater. That happened in 2009 when an old dry cleaning business caused a crisis in a neighborhood near Hope Mills. And it happened in 2012 when gasoline from an old convenience store seeped into wells around the county line and Chickenfoot roads. The county ran water lines to them. It will happen again, now that courts have ruled that the Fayetteville Public Works Commission is an independent public authority and the city cannot limit where it extends its water system. The county is free to work out a plan and deal with the local utility, and the plan won't likely be rejected by the voters as it was in Grays Creek in 2011 because of residents' fear of being annexed by Fayetteville. You see, a lot of these areas do not wish to be annexed by Fayetteville and have to pay for Fayetteville's many problems. Changes in state law have put the city largely out of the annexation business, and the fear of Gen X pollution likely far outweighs other considerations. It's time for the county to figure out the financing and begin a long-term county water project. We've seen the alternative, and it doesn't work. How about people who live around these chicken farms? Wonder what their water is like. We know what the air is like. The air is polluted. And people rear their children right in the poison water and the poison air. It's just as...
This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the SENCRRS in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600 or our toll-free number at 1-844-709-5656. Your radio hosts today are
Marty Baldwin
and Ralph Walkie Robertson. And we are proud to serve you today. And this is just a reminder that this is our 8th annual fundraising golf tournament coming up on Saturday, April the 7th. That's next Saturday, folks. Not this coming Saturday, but April 7th. At Gates 4 Golf and Country Club. 11 a.m. starting registration, practice and all at 11 a.m. Tee off will be at 12 p.m. With your support, a $100. Your sponsorship will include additional advertisement and hole signage. A corporate sponsorship of $300 will include all of the above, and 4 players will be eligible to play for free. This is the best golf tournament that you can ever play in. So we need your help, listeners. I know you know somebody plays golf. Give them this information and tell them to call in and sign up for the 8th annual Radio Reading Service Golf Tournament. We need your help. We can't do it by ourselves. So get the word out. That's Saturday, April the 7th at Gates 4 Golf and Country Club. Lunch and dinner provided. $500 cash for first place. A car for the first hole-in-one on 2 different par 3s. You will never play in a better tournament. This is a $400 value for 4 golfers for only $240. For 4 golfers, $65 per golfer. Help us help you. Get off your keister and do something.
Public safety from Cumberland County. This is Cumberland County arrest. Stacy Heather Levens, Parker, 37 of the 6900 block of Winchester Drive, was charged Tuesday with embezzlement. Bail was set at $5,000. Joseph Davone Murchison, 24 of the 200 block of Law Road, was charged Tuesday with trafficking in opium or heroin, trafficking in cocaine, possessing marijuana with intent to sell and deliver, and possessing a weapon of mass destruction. Well, golly, he got a bail of a whole $5,000. Gee whiz, what do you have to do around here to be put in jail and stay for a while? Antoine Jared Purdy, 40 of the 6200 block of Fanning Circle, was charged Tuesday with obtaining property by false pretense. Bail was set at $1,000. I'll bet they patted his hand. Jason Denham Brown, 19 of the 500 block of North Platte Road, was charged Tuesday with breaking and entering a motor vehicle, obtaining property by false pretense, a misdemeanor larceny, and a misdemeanor possession of stolen property, and his bail was a big $5,000. Jabari Deshaun Whitted, 18 of the 500 block of Nottingham Drive, was charged Monday with 3 counts of financial card theft, 2 counts of conspiracy, and 1 count of obtaining property by false pretense. Bail was set at $40,000. Garin, Gharren, Terrell Terry, who is 20, of the 4600 block of Woodline Drive, was charged Monday with larceny and possessing stolen property and misdemeanor larceny. Bail was set at $5,000. Natiza Norma Artis, 19, of the 500 block of Moore Street was charged Monday with 4 counts of obtaining property by false pretense and 2 counts each of financial card theft with a scanning device and a financial card fraud. Bail was set at $12,500. Stephen Ray Seidel, 30, of 600 block of Glensford Drive, was charged Monday with attempted robbery with a dangerous weapon, discharging a firearm into an occupied vehicle, and common law robbery. Bail was set at $25,000. Tawana Shanier Shields, 43, of the 600 block of Sabine Drive, was charged Monday with conspiracy to commit robbery with a dangerous weapon. Bail was set at $1,000. Yancey Dwayne Helton, 59, of the 400 block of Trotter Drive in Sanford, was charged Monday with larceny by use of an anti-inventory device and obtaining property by false pretense. Bail $3,000. Christopher Dale Locklear, 27, of Millstone Lane in Godwin, was charged Monday with larceny by removing, destroying, or deactivating a component of an anti-shoplifting device, and bail was set at $2,000. Adam Keith Gunkel, 26, of the 700 block of Englewood Drive, was charged Sunday with breaking and entering, larceny, possessing stolen property, and obtaining property by false pretense, and his bail was $30,000. Break-in on Miller Avenue, 700 block, reported at 10:46 p.m. Sunday. Nothing reported missing. Apple Tree Lane, reported at 12:37 a.m. Saturday. Electronics taken. And I hope none of the listeners live on the same street as our local criminals do. And that's...
Camden Road widening will require traffic shift. Traffic will shift onto the newly built portion of Camden Road today as part of a widening project. The State Department of Transportation is widening Camden Road to 4 lanes between Oakland Avenue and Owen Drive. About half of the 2-mile segment opened last year. The Transportation Department said in a news release, for the remainder of the work related, the contractor will need to shift traffic onto the 2 new lanes to complete the concrete median and reconstruct the other 2 lanes. The entire project is expected to be completed by the fall. Highland Paving was awarded the $12 million contract in 2014. Law enforcement and workers for flags are expected to alert motorists to the traffic shift. Motorists should use caution when traveling through the work area.
Take that, panhandlers. That's the byline. Hey, City Council, can you spare them a dime? Actually, the price tag may end up quite a bit. Bigger. Maybe that means quite a bit bigger, because the paper doesn't hire any proofreaders. I'm sure. The council continuing and frustrating attempt to control panhandling around town has resulted in another new ordinance. This time, the council has approved a law that bans vehicle occupants from giving or receiving items from pedestrians. The ordinance doesn't apply to parking lots, private roads, unmarked neighborhood streets, or to newspaper sales. But it would apply to people asking for money, or likely to people on the curb or in a car handing out event promotions or even prayer cards. We expected to stumble over the same thing that trips up most panhandling ordinances, the First Amendment. Panhandling, the courts have ruled, is protected speech. Not that most of us like it, it's annoying, and sometimes it's also intimidating, as not all panhandlers have mastered the art of being friendly, let alone presentable. Some of them are pretty scary, but as the American Civil Liberties Union has already pointed out to the city, that doesn't matter. It's legal. We'll lose if we try to defend the ordinance. There's one defense that would work. We could all resolve to ignore panhandlers. Eventually word would get out. It's not worth begging in Fayetteville. We won't, however, hold our breath until that happens. So,
Williams' statement disputed. Fayetteville City Councilman said he has a financial interest in the Prince Charles project. The Fayetteville City Attorney and the project manager for Prince Charles Holdings are disputing statements made by City Councilman Tyrone Williams about why he recused himself from votes Monday night. Williams said he has a financial interest in the Prince Charles Investment Group and that he previously disclosed an appearance of a conflict of interest to the city attorney and the mayor. He recused himself from 2 votes Monday regarding the downtown projects, but the details of why remain unclear. Also unclear is whether the Williams' earlier votes involving Prince Charles Holdings and adjacent baseball stadium could be invalidated. City management said little about the situation Tuesday. The city has hired an outside lawyer. Questions of council member recusal and reasons why are given. Members of council would ask for a recusal or choice to recuse are best left to the council members individually, city spokesman Kevin Arata said. Also, questions about whether any given council members acting within state ethics rules are outside the purview of city staff. While we understand that the recent series of events can seem confusing and may lead to another question, there's really nothing city administrators can say beyond this statement and the records that have already been released. The council voted unanimously Monday to allow Williams to recuse himself, then approved a parking deck lease with the Durham-based investment group Prince Charles Holdings, and set the public hearing on financing for the baseball stadium where a Houston Astros affiliated minor league team will play starting April the 9th. The question of a conflict of interest involving Williams came up during a closed meeting of the council on March 19th. Minutes from the session were released Monday revealing that outside lawyer Mark Calloway gave an overview of business transactions involving Williams and a former Prince Charles hotel owner. Calloway is a former federal prosecutor who specializes in white-collar criminal defense cases. Jordan Jones, the project manager for Prince Charles Holdings, said Tuesday that his investor group is a separate legal entity and that one held for the former private owner. Councilmember Williams is not an investor in Prince Charles Holdings, Jones said. Williams had a meeting with the new developers December 21st, according to the council meeting minutes. The nature of the December 21st meeting hasn't been disclosed. City Manager Doug Hewitt and City Attorney Karen McDonald declined to answer questions Tuesday about the meeting.
Here's an article from the Associated Press. Census adds citizenship query. Washington, D.C. The 2020 U.S. Census will add a question about citizenship status, a move that brought swift condemnation from Democrats who said it would intimidate immigrants, and it would certainly intimidate illegal immigrants and discourage them from participating. The population count taken every 10 years is more than an academic exercise. It's required by the Constitution and used to determine the number of seats each state has in the House, as well as how federal money is distributed to local communities. It helps communities determine where to build schools, hospitals, grocery stores, and more. Congress delegates to the Commerce Secretary the authority to determine census questions. Okay, and Commerce Secretary William Ross has until the end of March to submit the list of questions to the Congress. The department said the citizenship information would help the Justice Department enforce the Voting Rights Act, which protects minority voting rights and helps prevent the unlawful dilution of the vote on the basis of race. Secretary Ross determined that obtaining complete and, let's see, it's the next page, and accurate information to meet this legitimate government purpose outweighed the limited potential adverse impacts, the department said in the announcement. A coalition of state attorneys general urged the department last month to not add such a question. Now remember, let's see, I was watching, the question is, are you a citizen? Oh, what a horrible thing to ask people. Isn't that just terrible? Other countries ask it, are you a citizen? But it might lower participation among immigrants and cause a population undercount. California Attorney General Xavier Becerra said that state will sue the Trump administration over its decision. Well, in a place like California, I guess they don't want all their illegal people to leave. We're prepared to do what we must to protect California from a deficient. That is a joke. Imagine trying to protect California, this big sanctuary city mess. Massachusetts Secretary of State William Gavin, a Democrat, told AP on Tuesday that he expected his state would also join the lawsuit. He called the move by Ross an attempt to suppress the count in states such as Massachusetts that have large immigrant populations. The Constitution requires us to count every person living in the United States, not every citizen, Gavin said. House Democrat leader Nancy Pelosi said Tuesday that adding such a question will inject fear and distrust into vulnerable communities and cause traditionally undercounted communities to be even further underrepresented financially and excluded and left behind. Democrat vote lawmakers had been bracing for the decision in recent months. They've held press conferences and made it a point to question Ross about his thinking during the appearance at congressional hearings. Representative Carolyn Mahoney, Democrat, New York, introduced legislation last week that would prohibit the Commerce Secretary from enacting any major operational design that had not been researched and tested for less than 3 years prior to the opening day of the census. This bill has 9 Democrat co-sponsors, but the Republicans have signed on, demonstrating the bill's dim prospects in the GOP-led Congress. Well, okay, now it's going to be illegal to ask anybody if they are a citizen. Just absolutely ridiculous. If you know where the country's headed, please write an article and send it to Livewire and they'll print it. Okay, Ralph?
Fort Bragg salutes women soldiers who broke barriers. Lieutenant General Laura J. Richardson was a pilot long before she joined the Army. Richardson learned to fly by age 16, and after college she commissioned as an officer to fly helicopters for the Army. By 31 years ago, when Richardson joined the military, she wasn't allowed to fly certain types of helicopters. Not because of her skill, but because Army rules prevented a woman from flying an attack helicopter. Today, Richardson is one of the highest ranking female officers in the Army, and women soldiers are able to fill any position in the force, to include flying attack helicopters and serving and leading infantry units. That didn't change That change didn't happen overnight. Richardson told soldiers as part of Fort Bragg's Women's History Month observance, "It didn't just happen," she said. "There were a lot of struggle, probably a lot of failure. It didn't just happen." Richardson, the Deputy Commanding General of U.S. Army Forces Command, is the first female officer to hold her position. And in 2012, she became the first female Deputy Commanding General of a maneuver division. On Tuesday, Richardson spoke following a one-woman performance during which Kate Campbell Stevenson sang while portraying two famous female trailblazers, Bessie Coleman, the first African-American woman to be a pilot, and Eleanor Roosevelt, an activist and First Lady. Breaking barriers. In her speech, Richardson outlined many of the barriers that have been broken by female soldiers since the start of the nation's military. Women have served in every major armed conflict in U.S. history, she said. Sometimes they served through deception, like Deborah Sampson, a woman who disguised herself as a man to fight in the Continental Army during the Revolutionary War. And often they served with distinction, like Specialist Monica Brown, an 82nd Airborne Division paratrooper who received one of the nation's highest awards for valor, the Silver Star, after she saved the lives of fellow soldiers following a roadside bomb attack in Afghanistan in 2007. Richardson, who has flown more than 400 combat flight hours in UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters over Iraq, said there's a common thread throughout the history of the Army. There's a willingness to serve our country. There's a persistence to fight for the chance to serve equally as well as to serve as role models. In her remarks, Richardson detailed her own rise in the ranks, starting with her youth as a competitive swimmer and amateur pilot. And she also spoke of the efforts of others, like Captain Shay Haber, who along with Captain Kristen Griest became the first two women to graduate from the U.S. Army's Ranger School in August 2015. Haber, now an infantry officer with the 3rd Brigade Combat Team, 82nd Airborne Division, served as a master of ceremonies for the Women's History Month observance. Our history is rich with amazing stories of strong, courageous, and brilliant women. President Donald Trump earlier this year, since America's founding, women have played an integral part in American innovation and productivity, while simultaneously raising generations of lively children and providing leadership in their local communities. Time and time again, women have demonstrated resilience in the face of unprecedented challenges, she said. America's women have readily tackled the disruptive forces and demands of wartime and embraced the technological and industrial advancements of the past 250 years. Haber said the theme of the Tuesday's event was Women in War, Perseverance and Service. She said women add strength to the force. One of the qualities that makes America Armed Forces the best in the world is that we draw on the talents and skills of all our people, both men and women. She noted that nothing more than 10,000 women have earned the Combat Action Badge during combat operations, most of which have come in recent years.
Oh, I'd love to live till the day when you are a person and not just a female, but you're a talented person of any race, of any gender, of any whatever. Here's Medical Bankruptcy Statistics Don't Tell the Full Story by Megan McArdle, who is a Washington Post columnist and the author of The Upside of Down. Why Failing Well? It's the key to success. Okay, here's this article. Pop quiz. What percentage of bankruptcies in the United States are caused by medical bills. If you lived through the debate over passing Obamacare, you probably answered something like half. That was the figure in common currency among advocates of health care reform. Then Senators Chris Dodd, Democrat Connecticut, and Hillary Clinton, Democrat New York, were just two of the prominent advocates who used it. Other variants were also popular. Barack Obama, for example, was fond of saying that the cost of health care now causes a bankruptcy in America every 30 seconds. It's a memorable number, but it's almost certainly many times the true count. The figure is based on a series of papers released by a team including Senator Elizabeth Warren, then a professor at Harvard Law School, and co-author David Himmelstein and Stephanie Woodhandler of Physicians for National Health Program. Theirs was hardly the only paper to attempt an estimate of medical bankruptcies, but no one else got eye-popping numbers like that, or nearly so much media attention. Critics at the time, including me, pointed out that there were all sorts of problems with the data, but none of the critics had the viral charms of the original study. But behind the scenes, the debate has continued, and last week the New England Journal of Medicine published a new estimate done by a team of health and labor economists. Their method is considerably more robust than one adopted by Warren and the others, who looked at the presence of medical bills in bankruptcy filings. The problem with doing that is that bankruptcy tends to be multi-causal. If you have a $500,000 house, 3 luxury cars, a boat, and also a heart attack, which of these things caused your bankruptcy? So Carlos Dobkin, Amy Finkelstein, Raymond Kluender, and Matthew J. Notowidingo did what's called an event study. Instead of looking at bankruptcies to see how many involved medical bills, they started with the illness and asked how much more likely people were to declare bankruptcy after they got sick. That's a much better way to tease out causation than asking whether someone who just went through financially ruinous divorce also owned his or her dermatologist thousands of dollars. The answer they came up with will surprise even critics of Warren and others. The fraction of bankruptcies caused by medical events is just 4%. And even among those bankruptcies, it seems that medical bills may be less of a problem than the other things associated with an illness, such as lost labor income. In other words, medical bankruptcy probably wasn't nearly as big a problem as people thought when we were passing out giant new health care programs. And to the extent that it was a problem, Obamacare didn't do much to fix it. The jibes with what we've seen in the bankruptcy data since Obamacare passed. And that jibes with what we've seen in bankruptcy data since the Obamacare passed. If medical bills really were driving so many people into bankruptcy, then we would have expected filings to plummet after 2013, when millions of people gained health insurance coverage. Instead, we see a smooth decline from this recession-era peak. That 4% figure may be too low. Dobkins and others looked at hospitalizations data as they matched up with credit reports, and they restricted the study to people who had not had a hospitalization in 3 years before the event that put them in the study, though these people might well have been hospitalized after the first illness. This enabled them to focus on the effects of a discrete health problem, rather than, say, catching someone who lost his job and then had a heart attack from the stress. And since most of the people with high medical spending in a given year had a hospitalization, It's reasonable to think that they're capturing the majority of the illness-induced bankruptcies, but they are probably missing some who are quite sick yet don't require hospitalization, and their method will exclude the long-time chronically ill and people with special needs children, groups who might be particularly likely to end up in bankruptcy. That 4% is probably a useful floor, telling us the minimum number of medical bankruptcies we can definitely say occurred. But it's not appropriate to use it as a ceiling. Still, double their figures to account for these omissions, triple it or quadruple it even. We're still not anywhere near half of all bankruptcies. Then consider another finding, which is arguably even more important than the bankruptcies. Even among the uninsured, hospitalization accounted for only 16% of total bankruptcies. Why is that important? Because if people with no insurance at all don't have significantly higher rates of bankruptcy, it suggests that while medical bills are driving some of the bankruptcy, they're unlikely causing the majority of them. The NEJM paper is part of a larger project, which the authors recently wrote up for the American Economic Review. That paper found that the size of the drop in income after an illness was about 5 times that of the resulting medical bills, suggesting that the financial strain is likely to be much more driven by income loss than health care cost. And indeed, if you talk to bankruptcy practitioners, you'll hear the stories of plumbers whose heart attacks forced them to cut back on work, surgeons who developed a tremor in their 50s and saw their income plummet too far to make the mortgage, mothers of special needs kids who had to quit their jobs in order to become full-time care managers. If a family's debt was pitched right up to the edge of their old income, insolvency quickly looms. If Dobkin and others are right, the people who quoted Warren's inflated statistics focused around medical bills didn't just overstate the problem, they had us focus on a problem we didn't have instead of the ones we did have, and that probably still needs to be solved. On a personal level, it means that Americans need to plan around potential illnesses by rethinking their debt load. We would be much less vulnerable if we, I'm going to turn this paper, we would be less vulnerable if we kept our debt payments down to a level that would be manageable on a reduced income instead of buying as much car and home as we can afford at the time. Some of the savings from lower payments could be used to buy short-time and long-term disability insurance, either through our employers or a private broker, and we could put the rest into an emergency fund that would carry us through, say, a 3 or 6 month illness. On a policy level, if Americans wanted any sort of social insurance to protect the middle class from the financial effects of illness, they'd have done much better to insure incomes rather than health. That probably would have been just as controversial as Obamacare, to be fair, but at least we wouldn't have spent hundreds of billions of dollars to fight medical bankruptcies only to see no improvement. I think, are we just about at the, yes. We need.
This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. we request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600. Your radio hosts are
Marty Baldwin
and Ralph Walkie Robertson, and we are proud to serve you today, and you can help us help you. Our 8th annual fundraising golf tournament will be held on Saturday, April 7th at Gates Ford Golf and Country Club, starting at 11 a.m. registration and warm-up, tee off at noon. Your support of $100, your sponsorship will include additional advertisement and hole signage. A corporate sponsorship, $300, will include all of the above, and 4 players. This tournament is the best that you can play in. So I know you know somebody plays golf, so get off your keister and tell them about this golf tournament. Have them sign up. The more the merrier. We need to buy more receivers so we can have more folks like you listening to the radio reading service. So help us, help you. Tell people about the radio reading service golf tournament on Saturday, April the 7th at Gates Ford. Registration 11, tee off at noon. Lunch and dinner provided. Beverage cart provided. Free car, brand new car for the first hole in one on 2 different holes in par 3s. All right, folks. Now it's time for the reading of the obituaries. I'd like to dedicate the reading of the obituaries to my dearly departed mom, Virginia Brantley Robertson, who spent her last 10 or 12 years non-ambulatory and unable to see, and would have loved the radio reading service. And to Drew Rotanic, who recruited me into the service and was an ardent fan and supporter of the radio reading service. Death notices. And of course, Harold F. Rickman, who founded the radio reading service here at Fayetteville State University, and we read from the Harold F. Rickman studio. Cumberland County, Kevin Gerald Jefferson, Sr., 55 of Fayetteville, Unity Funeral Services of Fayetteville. Donna C. Harris, 55 of Fayetteville, Sullivan's Highland Funeral Service. Karen B. Lewis, 75 of Fayetteville, Herring Funeral Care and Cremations. Clara Johnson, 91 of Fayetteville, Wiseman Mortuary. Reginald D. Smith, 54 of Fayetteville, Wiseman Mortuary. Cape Fear Region, Alexander McNeil, 91 of Laurinburg, Bowie Funeral Home.
Did you finish them?
No.
Okay.
Cumberland County, U.S. Major, retired, Robert P. Bob Ives. U.S. Army Major, retired, Robert Bob Ives, 82 of Fayetteville, passed away on Wednesday, March 21st at Cape Fear Valley Medical Center. Wow, this is a long obituary. A funeral service for Bob is planned for 3 p.m. on Wednesday, March 28 at McPherson Presbyterian, officiated by Reverend Dr. James Randall. He'll be laid to rest at Arlington National Cemetery at a later date. Following the McPherson service, he will be a visit for family and friends and a reception given by the congregational team of McPherson. In lieu of flowers, please make, if you wish, a donation to McPherson Presbyterian Church or to the Airborne and Special Operations Museum. Online condolences may be expressed at sullivanshighland.com. Services are entrusted to Sullivan's Highland Funeral Service and Cremation. Larry Haddon, Larry Haddon, 62 of Fayetteville, died Wednesday, March 21st. Graveside Thursday noon, Sand Hill State Veteran Cemetery. Unity Funeral Services of Fayetteville. Doris Robinson Hampton. Doris Robinson Hampton, 92, went to her heavenly home on January the 10th in Gulfport, Mississippi, where she had resided since 1987. Prior to 1987, she resided in North Carolina. Services will be held in Fayetteville, North Carolina at 10:30 a.m. on March 31st, where she will be buried in the mausoleum at Lafayette Memorial Cemetery. In lieu of flowers, the family asked that donations be made in her memory to the building fund of First Baptist Church, Gulfport, Mississippi. Jeanette Tanner Cohan. Jeanette Tanner Cohan, 79 of Fayetteville, passed away at her home in the presence of her loving family. A funeral service is planned for 1 p.m. on Thursday, March 29th at Sullivan's Highland Funeral Service. The family will welcome friends from 11:45 a.m. to 12:45 p.m. prior to the service. Burial will follow at Spring Branch Baptist Church Cemetery in Dunn. Online condolences may be expressed at sullivanshighland.com. Services are entrusted to Sullivan's Highland Funeral Service and Crematory. James Odell Barefoot. James Odell Barefoot, 80, of Fayetteville, North Carolina, died Saturday, March 24th. Visitation will be Thursday, March 29th, from 6 to 8 p.m. at Rogers and Brees Funeral Home. A celebration of life service will be held Friday, March 30th at 11 a.m. at Sapona Road Church of God. Officiating will be the Pastor Tim Gore. In lieu of flowers, donations to be made to Sapona Road Church of God. Services entrusted to Fayetteville Cremation Services. Carl Wayne Sellers. Carl Wayne Sellers, 72, of Shelby, died Sunday, March 25th. Graveside Thursday, 2 p.m. Lafayette Memorial Garden West. Burial, Lafayette Memorial Garden West. Barbara Riddick Wiley. Barbara Riddick Wiley, 87, of Fayetteville, died Monday, March 26th. Memorial Friday, 11 a.m. Highland Presbyterian Church, Sullivan's Highland Funeral Service and Crematory. Dorothy Powers Sellers. Dorothy Powers Sellers, 89, went to be with her Lord on Tuesday, March 27th. She was preceded in death by her husband, Charlie Sellers. There are no services planned. Fannie L. Thomason. Fannie L. Thomason, 89, of Fayetteville, died Tuesday, March 27th. Memorial Friday, 11 a.m. First Presbyterian Church visitation following service. Journey of Mourn Funeral Home.
And now we'll have those obituaries from the county and elsewhere. Edna M. Parker Irwin, age 86, of E.C. Street, died Monday at Rex Hospital in Raleigh. Funeral Mass will be 11 a.m. Thursday at Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Dunn. The family will receive friends at Rose and Graham Funeral Home in Benson Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. and other times at the home. Flowers are welcome, but memorials may be made to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, St. Jude Place, Memphis, Tennessee, and condolences may be sent to the family. Dolores B. Ellis of Rayford. Dolores Ruby Beasley Ellis passed away with her family by her side March 26 at the age of 84. A visitation will be held 1 to 2 Thursday, March 29 at Hillcrest Baptist Church. A funeral service will follow at 2 p.m. Burial will be in the Rayford Cemetery. Memorials may be made to Hillcrest Baptist Church in Rayford. Ronnie Harrington, Carthage, 72, died Sunday, March 25. Funeral, 2 p.m. Cox Funeral Home Chapel. Visitation, Cox Memorial Funeral Home, Thursday, 6 to 8 p.m. Burial, Red Branch Baptist Church Cemetery in Carthage with military honors. Cox Memorial Funeral Home. Doris DeFee Bowen, Sanford, 89, died Saturday, March 24. Memorial, Thursday, 1 p.m. East Sanford Baptist Church. Visitation, East Sanford Baptist Church, Thursday, noon to 1 p.m. Cox Memorial Funeral Home in Vass. Franklin Sherwood White of St. Paul's, 75, died March 24. Memorial, Thursday, 4 p.m., Great Marsh Baptist Church. Visitation, Great Marsh Baptist Church, Thursday, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Bowles, St. Paul's Funeral Home. Gladys Marie Edwards Thornton. Gladys Marie Edwards Thornton, 92, of Wilmington, died Monday, March 26, 2018. Memorial, Saturday, 2 p.m. at Royal Hall Funeral Home, Chapel, Clinton. Reception with family and friends following service. Burial held prior to the service, privately. Royal Hall Funeral Home. Harry Randall Page of Supply, formerly of Fayetteville, died Monday, March 26. Funeral Friday, noon. Jernigan Warren Chapel. Visitation, Jernigan Warren Funeral Home. Friday, 11 a.m. noon. Burial, Lafayette Memorial Park, West. Jernigan Warren Funeral Home. Barbara J. Curie, Rayford. Barbara Jean Curie, 63, passed away in her home on Friday, March 23. Survived by husband Michael, sons Michael and James, and grandchildren Mackenzie, Michael, Callie, and Kay Lee. There will be no service. Todd Rakeem Barnes of Southern Pines, 29, died Wednesday, March 21st. Funeral Saturday, 3 p.m., Southern Pines Primary School, Southern Pines. Viewing at the school. Saturday, 2 p.m. 3 p.m. Burial, Mount Hope Cemetery, Southern Pines. Simon Funeral Home of Southern Pines. Azaleen Darden Price of Clinton, 87, died Monday. Funeral Saturday, 11 a.m., Royal Hall Funeral Home, Chapel, Clinton. Visitation 1 hour prior, beginning at 10 a.m., burial, Clinton Cemetery, Royal Hall Funeral Home. Edgar Blake Hewitt, Jr. of Bladenboro, 86, died Monday, March 26. Funeral Friday, 2 p.m., Bladen Gaskins Funeral Home. Visitation, Bladen Gaskins Funeral Home, Thursday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Burial, Lewis Cemetery, Bladenboro. Michelle Lee Klein Restifo of Sanford, 48, died Sunday, March 25th. Funeral Thursday, 4 p.m., Gourd Springs Baptist Church in Spring Lake. Visitation, O'Quinn Peoples Phillips Funeral Home, Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. Burial, Entombment, Westview Cemetery Mausoleum in Lillington. O'Quinn Peoples Phillips Funeral Home. And after the obituaries, you Wednesday listeners know that I will read the Billy Graham article for the day from the writings of the Reverend Billy Graham. It's easy to pinpoint the most important event in human history. Some of us have been debating this question. What was the most important event in human history? No doubt you could make a long list of possibilities: a great scientific discovery, a dramatic medical breakthrough, a giant leap forward in transportation or technology, a revolution in economics or politics or agriculture. The list could be almost endless. But what took place almost 2,000 years ago on that hill called Calvary outside Jerusalem, along with the resurrection of Jesus 3 days later, exceeds them all. If Jesus had never gone to the cross, you and I would have no hope for forgiveness or a new life, and no hope for an eternity in God's presence. But Jesus did go to the cross, and Jesus did rise from the dead, and they form the most important event in human history. Jesus' death was not a tragic mistake or an unexpected accident. It was part of the eternal plan of God, a plan that had its source in God's love and was designed for our good. Jesus was the sinless Son of God, but on the cross all our sins were transferred to him, and he became the final sacrifice for our sins. The Bible says, "This is how we know what love is. Jesus Christ laid down his life for us." As we remember Jesus' death and resurrection during these special days, take time to ponder the profound love that caused him to give his life for you. Then thank him for that love, and by faith commit your life to him. God's word is true. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. John 3:16. You got some Dear Abby over there?
I sure do. New wife surprised to learn of husband's family secret. My husband and I have been married for a few months and are expecting our first child. His father passed away about a year ago. His parents had been married 33 years when he died. A few weeks ago, we told my mother-in-law we were expecting our first child. After a joyous moment and some conversation later about children, she brought up my husband's half-brother, someone I didn't know existed. My husband then said, "I thought we weren't supposed to talk about him." She told him with my father-in-law had reached out to the half-brother before his death to make amends. She had had no knowledge there was in contact. But while she was cleaning out his wallet, she found a picture of him. "Abby, I'm confused now by how to discuss this with my husband because I would love to know more details about his half-brother. I don't know how old he is or what happened. Infidelity? Evidently he lives close to us. We might have met before. My husband nor anyone in his family mentioned this person, ever. Should I just leave it alone? Or should I probe some more to see if I can get more information? Perplexed in Indiana. Dear Perplexed, it appears the existence of this half-sibling is the skeleton in your husband's family closet. If I were you, I'd be careful about rattling it. Ask your husband if he's willing to share what he knows. If he is interested in pursuing more information, offer to help him. But unless he is, I do not advise starting to dig. P.S. Because the father reached out to make amends, the half-brother may try to contact his siblings, but don't count on it. Dear Abby, I have been married for 4 months. My husband and I love each other very much. Although he has asked me multiple times for sex, we have made love only twice in 4 months. My problem is sex doesn't interest me. In fact, the thought of it terrifies me. I hate saying no because I know it hurts him, but I'm always scared that I won't enjoy it, or that if I do say yes, I'll feel like it's a chore just to make him happy. I know that's the wrong mindset to have going into it. I have apologized almost every time I turn him down. He always says, I don't need to be sorry, and we'll only do it when I'm comfortable. But I'm scared I might not ever be comfortable with it. Plus, I have doubts that I ever had an orgasm. How should I approach this scared newlywed? Dear scared, you silly little nilly-willy, you better get on the train or you're going to lose your husband. If you hadn't experienced an orgasm, I assure you that you would not have forgotten the experience. You need to have at least 2 honest conversations. The first with your husband, the second with your gynecologist. Your problem may be physical, emotional, or a combination of the 2. Or you could be just crazy. A licensed psychologist can help you figure out the reason for your feelings and resolve them, or refer you and your husband to a sex therapist who will watch you have sex and make pointers for you. The only thing you should not do is wait any longer to deal with this.
And here's the horoscope for today, which is March the 28th, if you've forgotten. Coming up to a big Sunday at many churches. Born today, you have a keen eye, a good ear, and the ability to take in and analyze all sorts of information quickly. The result? You are able to anticipate the mood of the crowd and come up with that which becomes, in a little time, the trends and fads of tomorrow. Here are the rest of us. Aries, you're feeling the need to talk to someone today, but you don't want to reveal everything that's going on. You can pick and choose. Taurus, you may feel threatened by someone who claims to know more about you than you have revealed. How does he or she know? Gemini, you will want to get a firm grasp of something before making any decisions that will affect those around you. Now is no time for guesswork. Cancer, your opinions can prove valuable to others as they make up their minds about certain things that are new to them. Leo, you are feeling strangely insecure about something that was a source of strength and confidence only yesterday. Examine closely. Virgo, you can forge a path for yourself that leads to many new places that offer important lessons. It is high time you learned. Libra, you may not be able to get everything done as assigned today. Bending the rules will help you a little, but only a little. Negotiations ensue. Scorpio, you can begin working on something today that promises many lasting rewards, both personally and professionally. Sagittarius, timing is everything today. Do what you can when you can and leave the rest to others. You will have to offer no explanations. Capricorn, you're receiving more advice than you know what to do with, and more, probably, than you would ever use even if you could. Aquarius, others may not like your style, but they sure appreciate the results you get when working on certain projects. And Pisces, you have the chance to start something yourself. Perhaps for the first time, you'll enjoy the freedom despite nervousness. Now, would you like to hear the letter to the Observer today? Because that's local. And some people say, well, everything is local. Sunday training is too noisy. Sunday, March 18, was a nice day, except I saw in the Observer recently that the military will be playing war here, full stream by 2020. Aerial gunnery range work ahead of schedule, March 12. While I realize we need training for our soldiers, why can't we have a special break on Sunday? It's a special day for us without our windows shaking. Sometimes it's so bad I feel like the foundation will give way. If this keeps on till 10 p.m. like it has for the past 3 months, I guess we'll all need to move to another part of the state. It's not like it lasts just a few minutes. It is like a war zone. I hate it for the children and pets who have to be scared because of all this. Is this going to be ongoing daily when 2020 comes? This is from Veronica Clark in Cameron. Well, I know that it shakes houses, and you wonder how those foundations can endure it. Back to you, Ralph.
Back to me, back to me. I guess I'll read the opinion, but before I do, this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600. Your radio hosts are
Marty Baldwin
and Ralph Walkie Robertson. And of course, don't forget, you know it, we rely on public donations, and we have our only fundraiser, the 8th annual golf tournament at Gatesville Golf and Country Club on Saturday, April the 7th. Registration practice starts at 11, tee off at noon. Lunch and dinner served. Beverage carts. This is a $400 value, or $100 per person, for only $65. It is the best golf tournament you will ever play in. And you can make a big deal by supporting us at $100 sponsorship, tax deductible. All of it's tax deductible. And your advertisement and whole signage. So all of this. So get off your keister and help us with the 8th annual golf tournament. Call people, let them know about it. Encourage them to play in it for you, so we can buy more receivers, add more folks onto the radio reading service family. Foreign policy danger lies ahead. If there were ever, this is from Trudy Rubin. All of you know old Trudy. If there were ever any checks on the erratic, impulsive Trump foreign policy, they nearly vanished last week. President Donald Trump's replacement of National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster with the hawkish John Bolton practically guarantees that the president will walk away from the Iran nuclear deal in May. And Bolton's call for a preemptive attack on North Korea makes any prospects for a Trump-Kim Jong-un summit look slimmer than they already were. Yet the scariest thing about Bolton is this. His deep belief in military action will strengthen the president's most macho instincts, especially since Trump just dumped Secretary of State Rex Tillerson in favor of another ultra-hawk, ex-CIA Director Mike Pompeo. Standing alone in the breach is Defense Secretary Jim Mattis. No wimp on using force, but a believer in trying all other options first. We are about to see the real Donald Trump, unchained in the foreign policy arena, flexing his muscles at the world, minus Vladimir Putin. Barring some unexpected event, GOP senators waking up at the prospect of war. The cost to America will be high. Of course, if his history is any guide, Bolton might self-destruct. When he served in government, the walrus-mustachioed lawyer was so hard to work with, the GOP senators blocked his confirmation. Excuse me. Blocked his confirmation. So Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice and ultimately broke with Bush, whom he considered insufficiently hawkish. But if he and Trump bond, Bolton's America's First philosophy could shape and consistently to Trump's most reckless instincts. Bolton is a more serious and well-disciplined version of the chaotic former White House Chief of Staff, excuse me, Steve Bolton. Along comes Bolton, who believes there is a yawning divide between Americanists and globalists, a term Bannon also used.
You want me to take that over?
It's through.
Okay. Here are sheriff's detectives to seek tips on homicide. The Cumberland County Sheriff's Office is asking for help from the public in trying to find the person who killed Veronte White on Saturday. Homicide investigators will be at Shaw Heights Baptist Church, 5946 Gregory Street at noon today to speak with the public, a sheriff's office release said. White, 36, was found unconscious on the 1100 block of Bernardine Street about 6:30 a.m. after deputies were called to investigate a shooting. White was taken to the Cape Fear Valley Medical Center where he was pronounced dead. Bernardine and Gregory Streets are in the Shaw Heights neighborhood off Murchison Road at Interstate 295. Anyone with information can speak with investigators in person Wednesday or call the sheriff's office at 323-1500. Anonymous tips can be made by calling Crime Stoppers at 483-TIPS-8477 or submitting them online at p3tips.com. Here's something about STEM program. Children of all ages can, this is local, children of all ages can participate in hands-on STEM activities at the Cumberland County Public Library and Information Center during the entire month of April. These programs are part of the North Carolina Science Festival, an annual statewide initiative that celebrates science in fun and welcoming settings while getting children excited about the sciences. This year, the festival is focusing on the science of food and drink. Children and teens can learn basic kitchen science and even how to extract DNA from spinach. The library is to partner with the Fayetteville State University Planetarium as its director, Joseph Cabes, presents programs about outer space, the solar system, and robotics. All programs are offered free of charge to the public. For more information or to regulate or to register for programs, go to our website, cumberlandlib.ne.us, or call any of the 8 libraries. Edible Science for Kids. This will be April 9 at 4 p.m. at the Spring Lake branch. Learn about cells, make a rainbow, and test other experience with candy and other yummy food, all ages. Teen DIY Ice Cream Science. This is April 10, 4 p.m. at the Bordeaux branch. Learn about the science of ice cream and make your own delicious treats. Grades 6 and up. Teen Science, Extracting DNA from Spinach. This is also April 10 at 4:30 at the North Regional Library. Extract DNA from spinach using a blender, rubbing alcohol, and dish soap. Homeschool NASA My Library tour of the solar system will be at April 13, 11 a.m. at the West Regional Library. Take a tour of the solar system. Learn how the solar system was formed and help create a scale model. Kitchen Science, a sensory experience, April 14 at 11 a.m. at the East Regional Branch. Experiment with the science of food and explore concepts like pressure and chemical reactions, all ages. Volcano eggs and mini water beads. This is April 19 at the Headquarters Library. Enjoy sensory play and learn about chemical reactions by creating your own bubbling volcano egg and mini water beads. Kids Science baking reactions. This is April 19 at 4 p.m. at the Cliffdale Regional Library. How will cupcakes turn out if you forget an ingredient? I think it would rather depend on which ingredient you leave out. Test hypotheses and experiment with different combinations to learn how chemical interactions affect our food. Grades 3 and up. NASA at my library. Yes, it is rocket science. This will be April 28, noon, at the Hope Mills branch. Learn how rockets work and experiment with different amounts of reaction, mass, and energy to see how they fly. Grades 3 to 8. Okay, Ralph, you want me to go keep going?
Let's see what we got here. How Facebook siphoned off phone logs. Boy, Facebook stock has dropped 30 points since all this
30
came out.
points?
Yes, it went from 180 to 150 points per share. The news that Facebook's Android app has been collecting call and text histories is yet another black eye for the social media giant. But just why was Facebook able to siphon off records of who its users were contacting and when in the first place? The short answer, because Google let it. The longer answer, well, it's complicated. The social network acknowledged on Sunday that it began uploading call and text logs from phones running Google's Android system in 2015. First by its Messenger app and later through an option in Facebook Lite, a stripped-down version of its main app. Facebook added that only users who gave appropriate permission were affected, that it didn't collect the contents or messages of calls, and that users can opt out of the data collection and have the stored logs deleted by changing their app settings. Facebook did not respond to multiple requests for more specifics. The kerfuffle over this data collection, first reported by the website Arttegna, follows a week of turmoil for the social network involving charges that it allowed political consultants to steal the data of 50 million users in order to influence elections. There's a reason Facebook's actions were restricted to Android phones. Apple locks down app permissions tightly, which offers more privacy protection to iPhone users. Apple's fundamental approach to collect the minimum amount of information to keep the service running and keep customers in control of the information, said Rich Mogul, CEO of the security firm Secrosis. But Android has long been indulgent. Until recently, in fact, Google let app developers gain access to a phone's call and text logs. All they needed was an app that required access to user contacts. Once users agreed, Android would then also grant access to their communication histories, starting in 2012 with its Jelly Bean release. Android would notify people installing such apps that they were also given access to their call and text logs. It still required them to agree to all those permissions at once. Rejecting the request meant the apps wouldn't work. It wasn't until 2015 when Google released Android 6.0, dubbed Marshmallow, that Android phones finally split up those permissions. That meant users could agree to share contacts but reject access to their messaging and phone histories. That's the same year Facebook says its app started collecting this information. But many Android users aren't using the latest version of software. In fact, they often can't get it even if they want it. As of January, about 65% of iPhone users were using the latest iOS software, introduced in 2017. Less than 1% of Android devices currently use the latest version of Android, known as Oreo.
Green Party becomes state's latest official political party. This is from Raleigh. North Carolina added the Green Party to its official political parties Tuesday, potentially giving voters more options this fall. The state elections board voted unanimously to certify the North Carolina Green Party, whose candidates can now automatically be on state ballots through at least 2020. It joins North Carolina's other official Democrat, Republican, and Libertarian for federal, state, and local offices. The decision also means voters can now officially register with the Green Party, which promotes a pro-environment platform that extends to universal health care, renewable energy, equal rights, and opposition to war. State Green Party membership, counted internally by the party, is currently in the hundreds, with 5 regional chapters. Party members will gather through a convention to nominate candidates for what is likely to be a limited number of seats in November. Green Party co-chairman Jan Martell said, "Those candidates must be provided to state officials by July 1, according to state law. It's going to be a quantum leap for us," Martell said. "It gives us the credibility that we need to be recognized as legitimate players in the political process in this state." The Green Party and other smaller parties have had a steep mountain to climb to get official recognition because under the state's old law, they had to collect more than 90,000 signatures from registered voters. Even if successful, the collection process had to be repeated if the party's candidate for president or governor failed to receive 2% of the vote in North Carolina. Only the state Libertarian Party, now with 35,000 registered voters, has overcome these obstacles, dating back to the 1990s. But the GOP-controlled legislature last fall approved a law that dramatically reduced the signatures required to about 12,000 registered voters and create a new qualification route.
Food ad time. Let's run on down to Harris Teeter with your eVic card. And make sure you use your eVic card or you will pay much more money. 10-count K-Cups or 12-ounce bag of Starbucks coffee. That's a steal of a deal right there, folks. $5.97. Weekly limit of 4. So run on down and get you 8. Carry another friend with you. 12-count Eggland's Best Extra Large Eggs, $1.97. Those chickens work hard to get you those eggs, so that's $1.97 is a good price. $3.97 for a 16-ounce Smithfield bacon. Harris Teeter Happy Easter. Whole beef tenderloin, $9.99. And only 99 cents for red seedless grapes. That's per pound, of course. You can get Farmer's Fresh green asparagus for $1.49. What about a half bone-in smoked ham? $1.49. What about a wild-caught Alaska sockeye salmon fillets? $9.99. $2.99. 3-pound bag of Farmer's Market Sunkissed Delight mandarins. Wow. 24-pack cans of Bud Family, Miller Family, or Coors Light. $14.99, folks. That's a pretty darn good deal. Don't see it much lower than that. $14.99 for 24 cans of beer. What about 16-ounce Land O'Lakes butter quarters, $1.99. DiGiorno or CPK pizza, 31.5 ounces, $3.99. 12-pack cans of Pepsi products, $1.99. And 6-count Klondike bars or 48-ounce Breyers ice cream for only $1.99. I love those Klondike bars. They are so refreshing. What about whole beef tenderloin for $9.99? All that at the Harris Teeter, but make sure you carry your Vic card. And if you leave it at home, you tell the little girl at the counter to use hers, or you will pay mucho more.
And let's take a quick look at the wonderful prices at Aldi. Asparagus, $1 per package, which is 1 pound, 99 cents, North Carolina. Sweet potatoes, $1.29 a 1 pound package. Oh, the sweet potatoes are 3 pounds package. And the Brussels sprouts are $1.29 for a 1 pound package. California navel oranges are $2.49 for a 4 pound bag. Florida green beans, 99 cents. Wisconsin russet potatoes for a 10 pound bag. And that's only $2.29. And Chestnut Hill Farms, a pineapple, $1.29 each. Then for the meat, we have fresh U.S. choice sirloin tip roast, yum, at $3.99 per pound. And available Wednesday, today, fresh choice bone-in ribeye at $6.99. And a rack of lamb for $9.99. Spiral sliced half ham, 9 pound average weight, 95 cents for a pound. Average weight is 9 pounds. If you're having company, you might want some of those wonderful things. Also, fresh Icelandic cod portions, $9.99 a pound. Family pack of chicken thighs, it's a really good buy, 79 cents per pound. Fresh black Angus beef chuck roast, $3.89 per pound. And then lots of brie. Here's some nice brie, preferred brie cheese, round, 8 ounces, for $2.79. And Appleton Farms bite-sized salami, original or spicy, $3.49. And Savorit's 6 assortment for 6 cracker assortment. Price has come down. It's $2.99 now. You can also get Southern Grove walnuts, $5.99 for 16 ounces. Lots of baking material. Here, $1.69 for the Baker's Corner baking morsels, 85 cents for the fudge brownies, and then there's a cookie brownie mix also, which is $1.79. Heavy whipping cream, $1.69, and whipped topping, of course, is only 79 cents, but it's nothing but a cup of chemicals. If you enjoy a dish of chemicals, just put that on. Southern Grove pecan halves, 10 ounces for $5.49. That's a good price. And almonds, $2.69 for 8 ounces. Brown sugar or powdered, $1.29 per pound. And a Village Bakery triple chocolate cream cake, $2.99. And a Village Bakery gourmet cookies, $2.49. And let's see back here. Oh, they have a pretty nice little handout today of all the goodies they have. I wanted to find some fruit here, but that you can get Nature's Nectar orange juice, not from concentrate, as well as Maison Les Joies, which is a brut sparkling sort of water, I guess a little like champagne. You could make yourself a mimosa with that, for you and your guests. Flaky buttermilk biscuits, 89 cents for a 16-ounce can. Organic blueberries, $2.89, and organic eggs, $2.79 if you're interested. Mini Easter choices for chocolate bunnies, premium chocolate Easter bunny, truffle eggs, $2.69, and fine truffles, $2.99. Chocure Easter figurines. It's a bag of bunnies and eggs, and Easter coins, Easter beans, and Mars 110-piece Easter candy in a little basket. Also, there are flowers. There's the 6-ounce vegetable or herb assortment for $2.69 each. Beautiful tulips, lilies, or hyacinths, $3.99. And for your gardening pleasure are some bulbs, clematis and flowering vine for $4.99. And that's probably a pretty good price there. There are a lot of outdoor things for your yard and for edging. There's a $9.99 Easy Home 13-gallon touch lid wastebasket, and home organizers for your shelves. Home carpet cleaner, $59.99. That looks like a bargain. Queen air bed with a built-in pump, $39.99. Maybe that would be good for your visiting relatives, or not. And for Broken Clouds Pinot Noir with the flavors of strawberry, raspberries, and allspice, good with beef, and it's $12.99. And Coastal Cove Sauvignon.
This concludes our broadcast of the Fayetteville Observer. Your radio host had been
Marty Baldwin
and Ralph Walkie Robertson. Tune in this afternoon at 2 p.m. for articles from the Hope Mills Sandspur and the Fort Bragg Light. At 4 p.m. you can listen to Off the Bookshelf. Today's Fayetteville Observer will be rebroadcast tonight at 9 p.m.
Are we off?
There, I think we are.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, caught a cold coming back from Europe.
Oh, you were in Europe?
Yeah, the great United Kingdom.
Well, you probably got it from being on the airplane.
Yeah.
Really common.
Yep.
There's some kind of a vitamin you can take when you're flying.
Airborne.
Airborne. Have you ever tried it?
I didn't. We didn't. You know, I knew about it and didn't even think about it, but we should have taken Airborne. Had no trouble flying over. Flew on a wonderful jet, the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Man, 9 seats across and plenty of leg
on the
room.
edges.
3.
Okay.
And I mean, first class seats 455 people, so like 155 in first class. But it was awesome. I mean, it was smooth as silk. Didn't have hardly a bump the whole way over there. And flew that back. But what happened? We got over there. We were 4 days in London, and then we were Edinburgh 4 days. But JFK had the worst blizzard they'd had since 1910. The day we were coming back.
Well, everything was closed.
So they closed down the Durham airport, so we couldn't get out. We went to the airport to board our flight, and of course nobody notified us, and we didn't check.
Nobody went out anywhere.
No, nobody went out. JFK or LaGuardia.
Philadelphia.
Or,
yeah.
So anyway,
sucked in.
they put us up at the Hilton Hotel and gave us 60 pounds a day a piece for food.
Oh my golly.
So, and the first flight they had us coming back was the following Tuesday, a week later.
Oh my.
But they were going to pay for a place at the Hilton and food at that rate till that time.
Oh, so you took advantage of that?
Well, we had to get back.
Oh, you did have to get back.
My son and his wife had a family wedding on Saturday.
Who is this? Is this Val?
That's Jane. But anyway, so we tried to find a flight back. We stayed 2 nights at the Hilton and did some more touring and all, and free meals and steak and lobster every night. And
wow.
But I was going to go ahead and stay till Tuesday, and let them come on back. Because my fiance, she has to work. She had to get back to work. But anyway, she and my daughter-in-law got they got the flu.
Oh no.
And I've just got this chest cold and all. But
they got on a plane with the flu?
They got on the plane healthy.
Oh, they got off the plane with the flu.
Yeah, so coming back. And so guess what? The closest town to the East Coast we could find to fly out to? Denver, Colorado.
Oh my golly.
Denver, Colorado.
That's a 30-hour drive if you've got enough people to drive constantly.
Yeah, when we flew into Denver, and then we got flights out of Denver, we had to spend the night and a day in Denver. But that's fine because we went downtown and toured.
If you've got 2 people, you can do it. You can do it in 20 hours.
All right, James, how you doing?
I need my car keys, James.
That might change, Peter said, after Monday's morning skate. We'll have a much better idea after this 5th game, then a much better idea at the end of the year. He's been good, but we'll see if we continue down the path. There's some things he needs to work on for sure.
Hold on just a minute. Got my car keys? Yeah, hold on.
But he's been very solid. The plan for Pro Bowl 21 was to play a couple of games this week,